Guys, welcome back to part two episode. Dominic Leonelli joining us again. We took a little intermission. I don't know if this is going to come out the following week or the week after. There might be a 2-week break or whatever. But yeah, Dylan Krasinski here as always with my co-host, Mike T. Kerrigan.
Yeah, baby.
Back at you. And yeah, welcome back to Dom. We took a nice little, I had a couple toasted up tortillas and ready to rock. I was getting a little hungry.
Yeah, me too.
So let's start it off.
Do you want
with,
your ear things? You don't have to wear them if you don't want to.
My voice on. I feel it's forgetting something.
You know, yeah. I mean, you don't have to. You know, it's we're all about freedom of choice here. You
this
know,
thing's pretty big. Oh, there it goes. Ah,
get the honor fixed.
I was gonna say, whose head is this for?
I think who was wearing it? It might have been
Some caveman.
might have been Kerrigan. Kerrigan has his like real wide.
Yeah, I got a lot going on in here, big guy. But let's talk about the Will Smith thing. I've heard a lot of theories. I'll throw out what I think.
Kerrigan has
on.
been chomping
Absolutely not.
at the bit to talk about this.
Not really. But my thing is, I'm one of those people. I think it was a whole charade. It was an acting thing. We were watching a pre-done segment, and what was really going on. See, if you think about it, you got to break it down. Who's Will Smith? Like, who really is he? What does he represent? If nothing else in his life, he represents Hollywood, right? So Will Smith is Hollywood. Who is Chris Rock? Chris Rock is a stand-up comedian who back in the day used to be the type of guy, like a good stand-up would walk in the room and call out the bullshit. So basically what you watched go down at the Oscars was Hollywood now telling comics or basically anyone who's going to call them out, yo, shut up or we're going to smack the shit out of you in public. And then you know what I hate now is I hate the positivity that you see in the world because it's all fake. They're trying to say it was like a big power move for women. He was defending his wife's honor, which I am in theory for, defending a wife's honor, but now we have to question honor's a real thing, right? So is she honorable? Do you know what I mean? Is it honorable getting tricked out by young guys and then telling your husband in an interview? So that's my whole problem. And women are always like, yeah, you go, girl. But I'm like, yo, she's not a good example. Get a woman who hasn't been swinging around town on her husband. And I mean, we all know, I mean, I'm sure Will Smith has his skeletons in his closet too. But that's my take. So it's basically Hollywood telling people who are going to speak up against him to shut the hell up. That's why now I consider Chris Rock just a total sellout. Total sellout.
Wasn't there a Grammys years ago where somebody imitated Chris Rock and he smacked that person?
No.
Yeah, karma comes back around.
That sounds kind of familiar.
Yeah, dude, I
I don't
almost want to
know.
see if I can find
Maybe.
it.
I don't remember any. So you think that this was a whole pre-planned, like an art project, like an avant-garde?
It was an avant-garde for the Illuminati. They're like, hey, well, you know these piss ass
let them
nothings.
know.
You know these nothings. We'll let them. It's enough. It's like put your mask on and shut your mouth, Chris Rock. You shut and not only that, you take your smack with your hands behind your back and you get back to work. Right? They didn't let him. They put Will Smith back in the audience. He assaulted a comedian. They're like, you know what? Order your hors d'oeuvres. And they gave him the award. Now, I'm not gonna bring race into it, but you switch the race up, and they're not letting you sit back down.
The funniest take I saw on it was I saw online someone said was like everybody when everything came out about Harvey Weinstein and them being like, oh my God, how could Hollywood turn a blind eye for so long? Fast forward to today. We just watched on live television an actor assault another actor on live TV, and Hollywood's like, yeah, and here is your award, sir. Please come up and give your speech. So it's like, yeah, okay, that's clear.
Yeah, there's no morals anymore. That's what I'm saying. There's no respect.
The worst part,
Chris Rock is as big as you get in comedy. Yeah, I guess Will Smith is obviously a bigger, but he should have some respect.
Dude, the craziest thing that I think that I took from that, which is insane, dude. I can't get over the fact that we watched someone like physically assault someone on stage at the Oscars over a joke, which usually is reserved. Honestly, the only people who assault people on stage are like mentally crazy. Like, usually there's something wrong. If you see a video of someone assaulting a comic on stage, it's like, oh, that's a homeless person who snuck into the show, you know? And it's like, that's great. But, dude, I've seen comedians like Tiffany Haddish, dude. Did you see this? There are comics defending Will Smith's actions. Tiffany Haddish was like, oh, yeah, sometimes people, they essentially being like, you write a check, your mouth writes a check, now your butt has to cash it. Like, being like, oh, Will Smith's in there. Dude, you're a comic. Or supposedly. Like, you're cool with, like, audience members coming up and now assaulting people if they don't agree with you?
They're not. They're reading directly off the script. They're reading off the script. They're like, this is formed by Pepsi. You want your Pepsi deal.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it probably was staged anymore, And honestly, I don't think it was the craziest thing ever on TV.
No.
Did you ever see when Jerry Lawler smacked Andy Kaufman?
That was a good smack.
Yeah, that was
he
great...
toppled him.
Yeah.
He deserved that smack.
Will smacked somebody a long time ago, and it was some good press for him. Do you guys remember that? A paparazzi guy tried to kiss him, and he smacked him.
Yeah, because Will was like, that was last night. You don't do that. You don't cross the night into the day.
There are long-standing rumors that Will Smith is a gay man who is...
I don't think Will Smith is straight. The way he smacked him and walked off stage is not the way a straight person would smack. He had that... There's something a little bit juicy about Will Smith. He's got a little juicy smalls in him. There's something about him that theatrical, and he's like... And he was so proud, like, he coached himself all day. Like, you did it. You stood up for your wife. Like, he had to be in the mirror because he's like, you like women. You're attracted to them physically. And his wife's not honorable.
Who the hell is Juicy Smalls?
Juicy Smalls is just Jesse Smollett.
Jesse Smollett. Oh.
Yeah. That's why I say there's something juicy about Will Smith. He's got a little juicy in him.
People...
Jesus Christ, dude.
They were like, look at him, look at how mad he is. But it's like,
Dude, he laughed. He laughed in the beginning, too. When the camera first went on him, he laughs at the joke. The camera pans away, and you can see that his wife kind of rolls her eyes. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, he's running up on stage. Crazy. Cool. The whole thing is nuts. But yeah, dude, I don't think it was scripted at all. I think that it was. I feel like I will say people are talking about the Oscars way more than ever.
That's why it was scripted. I think the Oscars is total garbage. No one watches it. It's like all this other propped up crap.
Oh, what did you think about the fact that it was sponsored by Pfizer? Did you see that?
Of course I didn't, but that doesn't surprise me. Every newscast is also sponsored by Pfizer. I mean, how sick is this? Dude,
I laughed so hard, dude. I saw it, and I thought of you immediately.
Total dystopian nightmare, man. These people are eating it up.
It was like the Oscar broadcast is brought to you by Coca-Cola and Pfizer, whatever their company is called.
Pfizer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pfizer. Coca-Cola and Pfizer. Yeah, that's nuts, dude.
So corrupt.
Yeah, I don't like the end parties. Like, I'm so happy that stuff's over with, like, with YouTube. Like, I don't want to be the end. Like, I guess it's cool when you are in it, but it's like, I don't know. It's like they're just working for somebody else. It's like, that's not like having your own business. Like, you're basically just somewhere working. Like, even like that. Like, that was an event. Like, Chris Rock was hired to work there.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, and then he got hit on the job. I would honestly sue the Oscars. I wouldn't sue Will Smith.
He could potentially sue the Oscars for having like no, and then the Oscars could sue Will Smith to kind of get money from. Like, but Chris Rock definitely could sue the Oscars. He could sue the theater and being like, this was an assault happened while I was at work and you guys didn't do anything about it. You let the guy sit in the audience and, could privately sue them.
I've already told that story, but I've seen that exact same thing go down before at a comedy club.
Really?
Where
they sued the comedy club?
No, this woman assaulted the audience and they sat her down the front row.
Oh, we talked about that.
Yeah, we already covered, but
that was a hot clip.
Yeah, I've seen people do that. Like basically Will Smith became a violent heckler. He was a violent heckler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I know now all the clips are surfacing.
Dude, where is women? What is going on with this women's rights? They're always like women are the same as men. Why didn't Jada Pinkett Smith get up off her ass and go smack Chris Rock? She's the exact same as him, right?
I'm not sure, dude. I don't know.
All right.
I don't know.
This is like a Long Island rant. This is more of a this is more of a deli conversation over coffee.
Yeah, this is not even a bodega. This is a deli conversation.
Oh yeah, we're talking deli here.
I mean, if it wasn't staged though, even as a comedian, I know it's like, I feel like if you're gonna say a joke, you gotta be prepared for the consequences. Like
What? Like you think a consequence is getting hit?
Not for that joke, dude.
No.
I've seen jokes where, and you have too, we're not going to get into details, where the person has crossed the line to the point where I'm in the audience like, yeah, you should punch him in the face. But that was so not even like a hardcore joke.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like you got to be ready if you're going to say it. There's consequences for everything in life. Just because you're on a stage, maybe back in the day you could always get away with it, but people are too sensitive now.
No, I mean, you used to get stabbed back in the day because you were working for the mob. I remember there was one guy who ran his mouth about the mob, and he put a fork right in front of everyone. Like, I'm going to say this is the wrong club name, like the Copacabana. Like, everyone was there. Yeah. Tie, put a fork on his tie so he's stuck to the table and just stabbed him.
Are you kidding?
No, this is like a major comic. I can't remember his name. It was like Milton Berle was there and like another comic. And they're like, dude, the mob used to run all comedy in the beginning. You would work for the mob.
Oh, yeah. It's selling that entertainment.
Literally.
If you read, Brad Garrett has a really cool book. The guy from Ray Romano, he played the Big Brother.
Yeah.
But he used to open for Sinatra. And I guess he was roasting a guy in the audience that was drunk. And he was like a mob guy. And they were like, hey, you're lucky you didn't get killed. I guess he said one thing about Sinatra, and Sinatra quit using him.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa. Damn.
Yeah, so that's nothing new, I guess.
All right, dude.
But yeah, man, if you say it, you got to be prepared for the consequences. I'm wondering, is that even a joke Chris Rock wrote, though? Like,
that's what I was thinking about. Probably not. I mean, I doubt he's writing those jokes. He probably looked at them all and picked, and he probably picked that joke. But I really doubt that he wrote it.
What do you think Chappelle would have did in that situation?
Dude, they ain't smacking Chappelle. Not like there would be a problem. Dude, Chappelle's down with the Wu-Tang Clan.
Right.
Will Smith's like, if you like Will Smith or not, now that he's like trying to be a tough guy, he's a whack rapper. His whole thing was, he's like, I don't swear because my grandma doesn't want me to. I'm like a church boy going. It's like, dude, you're not. So he'd get stomped out by the Wu-Tang Clan for that type of thing.
I think with Chappelle, it probably is not going to happen. I also don't think Chappelle... that situation's never going to happen. Chappelle's not going to be at the Oscars presenting, not by their choice, but probably by his. Like, he doesn't want to be there. But yeah, I really don't think. I don't know. It is crazy though.
That is a good comparison. Even though Chris Rock is arguably, I mean, he was doing comedy. Well, I don't know.
Also,
he was bigger than Chappelle for longer.
Dude, Chappelle's huge physically. Like,
oh, you're talking about.
You don't think about that. Like, people think of Chappelle as like the guy who was in like Con Air. Like from the Chappelle Show. But now, like, dude, the last like 5-6 years with his comeback, he's like jacked, ripped, tall, dude. Like, he probably beat the shit out of Will Smith.
And he smokes butts like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, dude. All of a sudden, he just walks up, goes to hit him. He just puts a cigarette out in Will Smith's eye.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
It's like, that's the kind of shit the Oscars need.
Yeah, that's what the Oscars need.
Oh, man. Yeah, but I could not believe that. Tiffany Haddish being like, yeah, you gotta, he deserved it. Sometimes when a joke crosses the line, you deserve to get hit. And I'm like, dude, are you insane? I can't wait. There's going to be a time where she gets assaulted on stage. Just some chick goes up and beats the shit out of her. And it's going to be like, yeah, dude, you invited this.
She 100% does not stand. She will not stand by that quote that she made.
1,000% no.
That's just something she just run off your mouth.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, do you have any stories about like crazy stuff happening at comedy clubs? We talk about this sometimes. We don't talk about comedy a lot, but like Mike's got a couple stories, like old Boston crazy shit that happened. Same with me. But yeah, do you have any like?
Let me think.
Because you worked a ton in like
you got a ton
Times
of wild
Square, dude.
I worked a lot where there is no security. That's why I'm like, as a comedian, I've definitely had people approach the stage before, like even just 2 weeks ago at LOL, I had a guy. I was telling the manager. I was telling I was telling Mike about this. First off, I wasn't even talking about this guy. He was just so drunk. There was a girl in the audience that was enjoying my stuff.
Yeah.
But I guess he thought the girl. They wrote an email. Actually, I could probably read that email on here. Yeah, he left his phone.
Hang on 1 second. You keep telling the story. I want to just make sure that the.
Well, I was telling this one for Dylan.
Sorry, I just want to make sure that I didn't turn the airplane mode on.
Okay, word.
Because
one of the bill collectors.
Yeah, this is a good story. This is the guy with the lady who wrote the essay.
Yeah, I got an essay wrote. What happened was this guy's heckling the whole show, and one of the clubs.
Oh, she wrote a review?
Yeah, she she emailed the owner of the club.
Yes, dude. Let's read it, baby.
You know what's funny? He didn't even care. He's like, I just wanted you to know. But
dude, at that club, that's like a positive review for them.
So tell the story and then we'll read the review
yeah,
or
let
the
me
email.
make sure I got the review because he sent it to me with a screenshot. I'm sure I got it. Oh, here it is.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, set the story up.
Okay,
so you're at LOL, which if you don't know, people who don't know, is in Times Square.
Yeah.
Which is now like a war zone.
Yeah.
And it's not even a comedy club, actually. It was just a bar. It used to be a comedy club, but because of the pandemic, they moved it into a bar. And they didn't change the staff. They just kept the same staff from the bar. So these people never ran a comedy club in their life. You know, they don't know anything about it. And the manager's there. This guy told me he pretends he doesn't know English.
Dude,
so
English is not his first language or a language that he even feels comfortable speaking. But he's like judging comedians. You're like,
yeah, he goes, they're not funny. He tells me. And I'll be looking at the comedian. I said, well, when they see everybody's laughing, see how everybody here is laughing?
Yeah.
That's how you know they're funny. I said, now, if nobody's laughing, then they're not funny. And he told me he wants all guys there. Like, he's like, I don't like girls. Girls aren't funny. And he's
what an insane thing to say from the manager of essentially a comedy club.
Right. And that's what's hard about girls. That's why I feel bad. Girls have a rough go at stand-up. I've heard this a few times.
Let's not get out of control.
Nah, man. I've seen this a few times. Like, this club in particular won't book a girl.
I mean,
maybe one.
Dude, okay. We were just talking about a certain female comedian who's been doing comedy for 6 months and is now about to host at the biggest comedy club in New York City, potentially the world.
Right. I guess, yeah, when you look at it, all depends. But I've been to clubs where people just flat out, like, they're just like, girls ruin the vibe. Like, I've seen bookers say that.
That's crazy, dude.
But, and I'm not, like, saying every club, because, like you said, yeah, look how some clubs, like, yeah, the best club in the world, this girl sat on a couple laps, and she's, like, now she's hosting at one of the best clubs in the whole world.
Yeah. So what? Let's get okay. So we're at LOL. It's not the greatest, vibe for comedy.
Yeah, it's not the setup. Nobody in the whole place, just to give the viewers an idea, they didn't even know they were going to be there an hour ago. They're walking around Times Square. These ticket sellers, if you buy weed off them, they give you comedy club tickets. That's how it pretty much goes. And so there's about
the old business model.
Yeah. There's probably 15 people in the audience, and they don't have no security. That's why this goes back to what I'm saying about the Oscars. This club doesn't believe in security. It's just as cheap as you can be. There's no door guy. The bartender does everything. It's one guy working there. He's the manager, the bartender. Then they got like one person as a server, and that's it for the whole club. And it's, this guy never managed a club before, and either way, there's a guy heckling the whole show. I'm watching it. And he goes, well, none of the other comedians said anything. So they, I figured out it doesn't matter. I'm like, no, you got to step in.
Yeah.
And, if somebody's heckling, you got to tell them, hey, man, be quiet.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to. He's like, no, I don't want no problems, or no trouble. And so I'm on stage, and I'm the last comic. And at this point, the dude's so wasted, him and his wife, they don't even know where they're at, man. The dude left his phone and thought I stole it. I'm like, dude, I gave it to the bartender. I seen him outside. He started a fight with some protesters. The dude was hammered. Like, he didn't have no clue. He's like, there's these girls, and there's a family in the back, and they were from Rhode Island, so I invited them to April 2nd show, the whole family. The guy's like, that girl's 16. I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm talking to his father,
Yeah.
And then there's another girl here. I got her laughing, and this dude's like, she's mentally disabled, and the girl's like, no, I'm not. Yeah, like, it was like this type of a show.
That's insane.
Yeah, and then he gets up and tries hugging the girl. He forces a hug on her. She's trying to pull him away. So I'm telling the manager, I'm like, yo, man, can you do something? He's sitting right there. And he goes, no, it's not my problem. And he walks away. And the dude standing at the edge of the stage has his fist balled up to hit me as I'm on stage. And I'm just cracking jokes. I'm like, yeah, man, I get anxiety. I'd fight you, but I got anxiety. Or, man, when I get in fights, I pee my pants. Like, I'm just saying anything so this guy won't fight me. And the manager just sat there and watched it. And finally, the audience members were like, man, they're like, can you leave? I was like, look, man, you're closed out. I was like, you already closed out your bill. You obviously don't like me. He's like, you suck. He was one of those guys that kept trying to say something funny, but couldn't. I'm on stage, and as soon as I walk up, he's like saying stuff. I'm like, look, man, all right, we had a few back and forths.
Yeah.
This isn't, you're not, you won't stop talking. I want to do jokes for these people that paid. He's like, no, I'm done. You go ahead, do your thing. Carrot Top. Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry. Was that me?
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, chill. And then the audience, I go, look, man, I'm not going to continue until you leave. Like, and he stood up to hit me, and the audience had my back. I was like, dude, is this guy ruining the show? And they were like, yeah. And they were clapping, and he finally gets up and leaves, and then he left his phone there, and then everybody was cool after the show.
Yeah.
And the manager is still mad at me, and I got audience members coming up to him going, hey, man, this guy saved the show. Somebody should have told that guy to be quiet a long time ago. And I had to call the owner and tell him what happened, and, and the manager was like, well, all the other comics didn't say nothing, so are they better comedians than you? I'm trying to figure it out. And meanwhile, while people are saying you saved the show, like,
dude, that's such an aggressive way to act. Oh, I'm just trying to figure it out. It's like, are you bad? I just don't know. It's like, dude, you're just trying to insult people.
Right. So then the owner gives me the next day, he sends me this message. He goes,
so who, this is an email that the owner got, the club got from, is this from the guy who was the drunk one, or
this is actually from his wife?
Okay. All right.
So yeah, the dude left his phone and I got it back for him. Keep that in mind.
Okay. Nice.
He forgot his phone and left it there. And I'm the one, I put it by the bar. I said, hey man, this dude forgot his phone. He was just too drunk, whatever. And he came back and he was being nice to everybody, and I gave him his phone. I was like, yeah, man, it's behind the bar. The other server left. Nobody knew where his phone was. I give it to him, and then he goes outside. I go outside, and he literally starts a fight with protesters to where the cops have to grab him. That it was like a restaurant.
The Freedom Rally people, I think.
Yeah, what was that? I can't remember.
No vax, no mask.
Yeah,
stuff?
there was something like that.
Yeah, I was with them for a while.
So, here goes the email I got. After I gave the guy his phone, and his wife was like, I'm sorry about my husband. Like, she told me that to my face. I'm sorry, my husband, he can't handle his alcohol. She tells me that.
So this happens all the time.
How emasculating is that when
they're a tag team? They're one of these drunk, these husband-wife drunk tag teams where they just use like everything to get away with it.
Yeah.
And
so this is from the wife.
Yeah, from the wife. And the girl that they claimed had a mental disorder was completely normal. I hung out with her after the show. Like, we chilled and talked.
That's the second time that's happened at OL. Do you remember that crazy lady who wrote it? She was writing notes.
Yeah.
And she claimed, she was like, this guy's retarded. And the guy's like, what? I don't know you, bitch.
Yeah,
and she like wrote him a note, and she's like, I know that you're retarded, and I'm just here to defend you. She's this white like savior psycho. And the guy's like, yo, first of all, I am not whatever she was saying he was. She's like, oh, I can help you.
Yeah,
like, I can help you like learn how to talk normal.
This girl,
dude, that is so insulting.
Yeah, a girl.
Yeah, she was white, so she was a hero.
I was on stage when that happened. So there was a guy and a girl sitting there. And yeah, the girl, I have my jokes about being, I was in learning disability class, so I talk about it. Like, I'm not shooting down on anybody. It's a part of my life. I was in those classes my whole life. So I talk about it, and the girl got offended for this guy who was normal.
Yeah.
The dude was like, he had a real job. He was like an accountant.
He was heated, dude. He was mad. He wanted to fight her.
Yeah, he gave the note. She gave the note to his wife. Saying something like, this isn't right. They're making, I could tell your husband is, like Mike said, the husband, she wrote in the note, your husband's disabled, mentally disabled. This isn't right. And the dude stood up to fight her. He was like, man, he goes, what's wrong with you giving my wife a note like that?
That's insane.
Yep.
That is so insane. I bet she goes home and is like the hero of that story. She tells
on her
like
blog?
her
Oh,
like
yeah.
book club friends. She's like, I was a hero this weekend.
She gave me her Reddit, and she goes, "Yeah, your career is gonna be over when you see what's on there."
Yeah, so funny.
Yeah,
Did you look up the Reddit?
yeah. I looked up her Reddit. It was like 4 pictures of her, like one planting flowers. She had like a poem she put on there or something. But actually, not to surprise, but it's the same club where this same exact club.
Yeah.
You know what they did with her? I said, "Hey, Roy, this girl's crazy. Got everybody wanting to fight her. She said she's gonna end my career." Roy's like, "Okay, we'll just sit her in the next show."
Yeah,
then."
that was so funny.
He put her in the next show.
They got her out though before the show started. She
I
started.
told
him.
She
Holy
started
shit.
trouble before they even show started. You know, she started kicking. They're like,
Yeah,
escorted.
Dude, the amount of no respect that there are great ones, but most comedy clubs / owners, managers have for comedy, it's just zero respect.
Bro, this particular time, I had to tell the owner of the club. I said, "Dude, I'm not gonna perform if she's in there." I was like, "I need to have you gotta get her out." And he's like, "Let me just charge her for her drinks real quick." He's like,
Dude, that's all they care about. That's all they care about is like, hey, can we get like $12.50 from this lady before we throw her out?
And they never
Nuts.
had security. Even when they had security did nothing.
Dude.
But so
this is going back to the guy who was fighting protesters. His wife sent this email.
Yeah,
Okay.
wife sent the email, and this is what she puts. And she goes, subject, and I don't know if I need to mention this, but it was a white lady, so I just feel like that needs to be said. So she goes, your comedy lounge. She goes, my husband and myself bought tickets to your comedy lounge in March 19th for the 7 p.m. show. She wanted to make sure I was getting in trouble. She put, while visiting New York for the weekend. We've been to many comedy clubs in the past. I have to say yours was the most disappointing by far to all others we visited. The last comic thought it was funny to pick on a woman who was there alone and clearly had some mental issues. This girl's husband forcefully stood up and gave her a hug. She was pushing him off of her, and that's how he walked out. He physically, honestly, man, I feel like he sexually assaulted the woman. You should have seen it. He gave her a hug. He's like grabbing her head, kissed her on the cheek, and she was a normal girl. She's like, "Get off of me!" She yelled it, and anyways, he goes, the last comic thought it was funny to pick on a woman who was there alone and clearly had some mental issues. Bro, this girl was completely normal. She just spilled a drink on herself, that's all. When my husband said something to him, he said he can't go on until we're escorted from the club. Because the dude was standing up,
ready to punch you. Yeah.
And he's going to punch me. And he wouldn't quit talking. As soon as I'd open my mouth, he'd just go, bah, 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 bah. So I couldn't get a word out.
Yeah.
I said, bro, you got to let me speak. I said, I'm not going to continue. You won't let me get a word out. He's like, what's the matter? You can't handle hecklers? We do this at all clubs. So they basically go places and ruin the show for people.
Yeah.
It took the audience members to threaten him. There was
what a
no
nightmare
security.
these people sound like.
Oh yeah.
So what's the rest of the email?
So the rest of the emails clearly had some mental issues. When my husband said something to him, he said, we're not going to leave till we're escorted from the club. There was 5 minutes left to the show, but he wouldn't continue, so we left. Your headliner was very unprofessional and not funny at all. Definitely was a waste of time. Dude, I was only on stage for 4 minutes. The dude wouldn't let me get one word. And then he left, and 10 minutes, I did my best shit. The audience was great. And the audience liked me already because I didn't come from a negative place, and they knew the girl was clearly normal. These people ruined the whole show.
So what? The owner of the club sent you that, being like, "Hey, look at this email we got." What did he have an opinion on? What about these people?
He messaged me because, like I said, the new manager, or whatever reason, I don't feel like he likes me. So he messaged me like, what happened? Like, so I'm sure the manager said some lies or something, and I told him exactly what happened. I said, you can watch the cameras. This is what happened, word for word. And he was like, okay, I just thought I'd let you know. But he's like, it's okay. He's like, I just wanted to get the story straight. And I've been there for 10 years.
Yeah.
And It's like, yo, if you're paid to manage a comedy club, sometimes you have to stand up and do something.
Yeah,
the manager
yeah,
does
yeah,
nothing. He just
yeah.
sits there, and it's like, this is your job. That's why you're here.
Dude, that's why, honestly, the show that we used to run, that I used to run in Boston, it was a little basement show, but like I treated it more, I felt like a comedy club than a lot of the comedy clubs in the city. Like we had a guy, I remember, because there was no stage, so like you've done that room, the Hideout.
Oh
in the
yeah,
basement,
loved it.
There was just a rug on the floor and people surrounded it, so you were seated low, but there was no stage. So like a lot of the times people would get up. Dude, I had a zero tolerance policy for like people dicking around. Like we had this one guy once, he was drunk, and like this is 150 people in that room. We're about to start. It's like 2 minutes before we're about to start, and he like gets on, and I hear someone on the microphone. I turn around, and this guy's like, he like took the microphone out of the stand and like started being like, all right, everybody, so this, and he's just talking. He starts talking about religion and shit. Dude, I run over to him and I like put the microphone back, and I like literally like grabbed him by the back of the shirt and like walked him to the door. And he's like, no, I'll sit down. I'm like, no, dude, you're not coming to the show now. You ruined it. Like, you're done. But like, there are so many people who would just be like, oh, we'll sit him back down to get, 2 beers out of the guy. It's like, dude, no, they're going to ruin the show.
Yeah.
Right.
Even
like open mic days, I got into 1 or 2 fights at the open mics. I had one, this comedian got so mad that everybody was laughing at another comedian. Actually, a friend of mine, Eagle Wit, shouts out to Eagle Wit, man. He's funny. He's blown up on TikTok. But anyways, so he was a hustler. He would go to all the mics, and he's a funny comic.
Yeah.
And, so he was getting laughs at all the mics. So this kid would always be, for whatever reason, all night this night, it just wasn't his night.
Yeah.
He'd come walking in at the very end of the mic when there's just 3 people, and they'd all be like, yeah, we're going to leave as soon as he'd get up. So it was like, you used to be able to hit 8 mics in New York in the night.
Yeah.
So this was like 2:30 in the morning. It was after the mic. We, Eagle, and like 7 other comics were like, dude, let's do another mic. So we start the mic. We're doing it. Eagle's on stage. We're all laughing. It's our friend. We're cracking up. He's like roasting somebody. And this kid comes walking in again. I already knew it was going to be a problem because it's like, bro, this is the 5th mic that he came walking in at, and we were at the last comic. It's like, you've been here 2 hours.
That's so annoying. I hate that shit.
I
won't sit. I will not. If you haven't watched the show, if you haven't watched like a good, like at least 5 or 6 comics, and you come in right at the end, dude, I'll fucking get up and go.
Right. It's an etiquette.
It.
It's like, bro, I've been here 2 hours.
Like, you want me? Yeah, I've been here fucking sitting here for fucking an hour and a half, 2 hours. Finally, I got on stage. I'm going to watch the last 2 comics after me, but if you walk in right at the end, dude, I'm leaving. Fuck you.
Bro, this kid actually got his karma right away. You know what's funny, though? It's cool that, like, I wish it could have been recorded because I ended up getting into a fight with this kid. What happened was he walks in, he's like, why are you guys always laughing at Eagle? He was so mad. And he asked me to buy him a drink afterwards. We were getting up to leave, and he goes, I had a drink. He goes, hey, man, buy me a drink, like on some trying to punk me type shit. And, dude, I was broke. Somebody bought me that drink. I'm like, I don't have any money. He smacks the drink out of my hand. And the bartender, she was cool. She was like, this is my last night. Just let it go. Dude, I had alcohol all over myself.
Oh.
And I was like, I don't know. I don't really try to fight, to be honest with you. And I'm just like, whatever. She's like, I'll get you another drink. I don't want no problems. I was like, cool. So we're leaving, and I was friends with the kid. I got him in at the strip. I got him. You remember this kid?
Does he still do
He looked
comedy?
like Steve Urkel. No, I think he gave up. But anyways, I got him in at the strip. I thought he was my friend, and he's just having a bad night, man. I knew him when I first moved here. We were going around hitting all these open mics. So whatever, man. He's having a rough night. He smacked my drink out of my hand. But this dude was like a friend to me. You know, I'm thinking he's my friend. So I wouldn't fight him. And I come upstairs, and he's all acting crazy. And she's like, I'm just trying to calm him down. And she's like, I can't believe I got to deal with this. And I'm like, he's not going to do nothing that's good. The dude charges me. And Eagle went and, like, ran somewhere else. And, like, the dude, this is what happened. He charges me. I grab his sleeves, and he falls on the ground. That's our fight. That's it. That's all that happens. For months, everybody's like, yo, Dom, heard you got your ass beat. I'm like, dude, he didn't even hit me. He ripped my shirt and he fell on the ground. That was it. There was people that weren't even there that are telling me, yeah, man. It's like it was just me and this guy in the room. Like, and for months I heard about how I got beat up by this guy. Like, I wish it was on tape just so that could play. So then anyways, he goes to the strip. And this guy's whole act was, I'm just going to tell you this guy's act. He would go on stage, and this is late night at the comic strip. So it'd be like 1:30 in the morning, and there would be like 5 people there. Again, a club with no security. And, you know, he would go on stage, and he'd be like, what's up, y'all? Damn, that's your woman? Yo, I'd fuck this shit out her. Put my big black dick all up in her mouth, her pussy. I know you got a little white dick. I got a big black dick. I'm going to smack your white bitch on the mouth with my black dick. And that was his act.
Dude, I'm shocked that he stopped doing comedy. I mean, there's a real need for that type of comedy in New York City right now. So, yeah, I mean, I'm shocked he quit.
So this was on tape. They taped all the sets at the strip. So this was on tape. It's still circulating. I know a couple comics that have the tape. The dude goes, yo, man, chill out, bro. What's the matter with you? It's my wife, man. You being mad disrespectful right now. He's like, what, man? Don't make me fuck your little white bitch. I swear, look at my dick. Look at it. And he's showing her. And he's like getting all close. Look at my fat dick. Fuck that little white pussy up, girl. And it's on tape. So the dude's like, yo, man, I'm going to slap the shit out you if you don't quit. And the dude gets up and choke slammed him on camera. And he goes, what do you want first, the back of the hand or the front? Dude beat his ass on camera. And the kid left New York. Bro, everybody's seen the tape. So he stands up after he gets his ass beat. He's like, you messed up. You're a dead man. You're a dead man. And we never seen him again.
Dude, I think I might have been there that night.
You remember the kid, I'm sure.
I know. He used to eat cookies.
Yeah. Dude, so I guess...
Ate cookies?
I guess his brother's like a famous comedian in Texas or something. So he used to do his brother's act, and somebody called him out. So
holy shit.
When that quit working, he started doing his shit about every night. That was his bit. He's like, I ain't even here to do comedy. I'm trying to fuck a white bitch. I'm going to fuck one of y'all white bitches tonight.
Dude, nothing infuriates me more than a comic getting on stage and wasting time.
I hate it.
Dude, you know how many fucking shows and mics? It happens more at mics, not really shows. Sometimes shows, but like when someone gets on stage and they're like, I didn't even prepare anything. I'm just here to hold a microphone. I lose it. I have to leave the room. I'm just like, well, why are you on stage then? Dude, get off. Go home, write something, prepare, come back. Because, dude, it infuriates me.
Yeah, it's annoying.
I see people do get upset with comedy. Like if people don't know out there, it's like you're putting everything into this. Like even like there's times when I'm riffing, like I have a club that just lets me go up whenever I want as much as I could.
Yeah, if you're riffing and you're working, like that's fine. If you don't have things prepared but you're working on like riffing, great. But dude, when people say I'm unprepared, I don't even know what I'm doing here, I'm like, okay, well then leave.
Right. And I see some comics will be so sensitive about it. Like they got to say something to me sometimes though. Like, and I get it. Like it's not like, I get it. Like I'm not up there with completely nothing, but I'll be just up there talking to the audience, doing crowd work. And some comics that don't get that amount of stage time, I've ran into parts where they tell me, oh man, you're just up there just doing whatever, huh? Must be nice. It's like, yeah, dude, don't hate on me.
Also, crowd work kills, man. Like crowd work at a show, dude, dicking around and like riffing with the crowd. I love doing crowd work, and crowds want to hear crowd work, especially if you're not like, if you're just up there and like that's your time, you have time to work. But no, I care about it more from like when a comic is wasting my time and other people's time. Like if it's at a show and it's, I don't care if you're wasting the crowd's time, but if I'm waiting and like fucking 30 other comics are waiting to get on stage.
I didn't realize you're talking about open
I'm talking
mics.
about open mics mostly.
Especially when the bucket's rigged. And
dude, and I'm like, you're on stage now fucking wasting everybody's time. Get off and go home.
There's been an open mic. I feel like karma comes around in comedy so quick. There was an open mic I used to go to all the time. The dude wouldn't even put me up. And then he's got the guts to ask me to vouch for it. Now I'm in clubs.
Oh,
and,
dude.
you know,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Fucking mic.
He's nowhere around. And he's always asking me. He sees I'm at Old Man Hustle Brooklyn. Dude, you gotta get me in there. And I bring it up. I go, yeah, remember you would never put me up at your mic? Do you remember I'd wait 2.5 hours?
And you just wouldn't put me on stage?
He wouldn't even put me up.
That's nuts, man.
Yeah, I'd be like, dude, why don't you ever put me up? Like the third time I went. And he was like, yeah, man, you got to earn it. He's like, I don't think you're funny. I'm like, you never even seen me perform.
You got to earn your spot at an open mic?
Yeah,
Jesus.
It was Alligator Lounge. Anybody remember that 4-hour open mic?
I didn't do it. Yeah, I used to do it, but not a lot. It was too. That was the thing. It was a rigged mic, it was too long.
Yeah.
And the bottom spots were too shitty. But if you stay to those last 3,
yeah,
it's so bad.
I heard they got this thing, my friends out in LA, and I think we need to do this in New York. Well, New York mics lost their luster a little. Like, it's hard to find a good one. But in LA now, they have a time limit. You don't have to wait never longer than an hour.
That's pretty great.
That's so smart. Like, you sign up with your time, and it's like, we have to put them up. They've been waiting because the mics out there are like 3 hours too.
Dude, the thing that is the worst is I like a list over a bucket sometimes.
Yeah,
but like when the problem with lists is that it happened in Boston. Where people would show up, like especially if you didn't have a job, you don't have a day job, like a mic starts at 6. Some of these mics, people are showing up at 3 o'clock to sign up, and you're
making their own
dude,
list.
I don't have 3. Like, I'm not gonna be able to show up 3 hours early to do 5 minutes in front of 30 comics.
Yeah. That's a New York.
It's a waste
move.
of time, dude. I hate that.
That's a huge New York move. People sign up 11 people.
Oh yeah,
and then they run out of the room when they're at the mic. And some of these mics are getting out of control with PC stuff. My friend, they kicked him out. A comic kicked him out of the mic for not being PC.
Really? What'd he say?
He was talking about his family life. He's like, I think he's from Iraq or something. And he was just saying how, like, I don't know what it was, but basically he was telling a story about his family generation. Bro, this is crazy. And I know the guy, and it's true. Like, this is 100% true. Bro, like his grandfather was 70 and his grandma was 12 when they had kids. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and he was talking about
that seems
it.
impossible.
And then his mother was like 12 when she had him. And yeah, and they shut the microphone off on him for saying that.
Kerrigan's got stories about I when I first moved here, I heard like multiple stories about when Kerrigan would be like, people would tell me, like Luke would tell me, would be like, yeah, I went to a mic with Kerrigan and they just ended the mic after he got off stage.
Yeah, they would shut it down and they'd like do like a speech, and then they'd like try to do like a kumbaya, like recalibrate, let's get like the bad spirits out. And then, some transgender they like blue-haired girl whose hair's falling out even though she's 19, she's balding, is like talking about her rape story, and I feel bad because like I know half the crowd's like, honestly, we don't even believe this story happened, whether it did or it didn't. But those PC Nazis.
Dude, do you remember? Well, I'll actually have, because we're gonna be having I'll save the story for when Artie comes on. But there was a story. Artie. Who doesn't? He doesn't do comedy anymore. He's going to be on the podcast, I think, next week. But yeah, he has a whole story at the Creek, dude. He used to do his joke that was actually a very progressive joke. But it was about how he matched with a woman on a dating app. He matched with her on Tinder, and they agreed. They were talking, and they agreed to go out. And then, like, they agree on a date and a time. And she goes, by the way, I'm transgender. Like, is that a problem? And he was like, well, like, I'm obviously going to go out. Like, that's so mean at this point to be like, yeah, that's a problem, unmatch or block. So he had this whole joke about how he like went out with her, and then how he was like, oh, dude, she was so rude. Like, she was so unpleasant. And like, that's the whole joke, is like, he's like, I never saw her again because she had a terrible personality. Yeah. But like, he obviously did this whole thing. But dude, he did it at like one of the shows at the Creek, and dude, this woman in the back like lost her mind, like didn't even hear the joke. I think just heard that he was telling a story about a transgender woman, and she lost her mind.
She just heard the word transgender and looked at Artie's face and was like,
right.
No.
Lost her mind. It was wild, dude. She was like charging the stage.
Yeah.
And I actually have it. I recorded the whole thing.
It's great. I love that. Yeah, that was not a controversial, like the way he did that joke.
That was also such an Artie's like that. I would just like be like, oh, that was a crazy experience, and then never think about it. Artie was like, all right, let's go outside. Like after a set, he like went outside and he's like, all right, now I got to fight your boyfriend, and like was like ready to throw down with like this girl's man. It was like, well, I'm not gonna fight you, but I'll beat the shit out of him. So let's go outside. And because she was mad rude, she was so rude, and he was trying to explain it at first, being like, well, what are you offended by? Like, what did I say that was actually offensive?
You know, it was getting so much like that at the open mics 2 years before the pandemic. That's why I quit going. I said, you know, you go to an audience, they love the joke. But you go to a room full of wannabe experts, they think they know everything about comedy. They tell you, oh, you can't make jokes about that and this. It's like, yo, get out of comedy. Get out of it.
Yeah.
Why are you here? Why are you here?
Dude, all right, so Mike's sober, obviously famously sober on the pod. We talk about it a bit. You're a drinker. You drink, right?
Yeah, you know, I'm off and on. I'm kind of trying to be done with it just because it's just too long for me, man. I've been drinking like my entire life now.
When did you start drinking?
I'd say 16, and I'm 36, so 20 years of straight whiskey's enough.
Do you have what kind of like drinker are you? Do you have any like crazy drinking stories? Anything?
Oh, dude, I don't even think I could talk about them on here. Bro, there was one time when I don't know what happened. Somebody said, bro, there's a bunch of cops looking for you. I still to this day have no clue what happened. That's what made me quit drinking the first time in Times Square. One time I got into a fight, man. I had a black eye a couple summers ago. And, you know, it's like drinking for me is like, I don't know. I guess it all depends on the mood I'm in. But, dude, sometimes it just hits me. I get too drunk, in which I'm like done with it now. But it's like it's just really everybody. Here's a drink. Here's a drink. It's hard to. Plus, I don't want to be one of those guys. Like, I quit for like 2 years and it was great. And then I had like one or two, but I'm okay. Like, I'm not one of these guys to where I got it under control. Some of my friends I talk to, like, when you go to these AA things, they're like, oh, dude, are you kidding me? If I have one sip, I'll be doing heroin. I don't see how people could escalate that quick.
Yeah.
All I'm going to do at most is maybe bother my girlfriend, tell her I want to have kids. Something crazy. She'll call me the next day. Remember you wanted to have children with me? I'll be like, yeah, down the road, man. We're getting to know each other.
That's funny.
That's great.
You know, I would get drunk and steal shit. That was a problem. Like the time behind McDonald's, I stole some shit there. I tried stealing a French fry or something, or like sandwiches. I don't know. I wouldn't really do nothing too crazy drunk. I would wild out on stage.
Really?
Yeah, I've learned to govern myself.
I never liked going on stage. I never liked going on stage drunk. I'll maybe have like, if it's a long set, I'll bring a drink on stage like with me.
Yeah.
Or if I'm hosting, like once I do my host set, I'll maybe have a couple drinks.
Yeah.
Throughout the show.
That's pretty normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it messes me up a little bit, but I don't regret it, honestly. Like looking back, I'm like, I think I needed it at that point in time. For some reason or another, I used to be so nervous for years doing stand-up. And I used to box. I was a professional boxer. I was more nervous.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't even talk about this, though.
Yeah, dude, I had like 4 pro fights.
Really?
I didn't have a good manager. Actually, speaking of alcoholics, my manager was a drunk. Dude, I had a fight coming up. I had the fight. It's me. I got a fight coming up. There's another guy in our gym that my manager, my trainer, he was everything. My manager, my trainer, my corner guy. He was not training me. I'm like, can I hold the mitts? I got a fight in 3 weeks. He's like, oh, you're ready. You're good. I want to get Steve ready. I'm like, oh, Steve, you got a fight? He's like, no, I got nothing. I'm just trying to stay in shape. And I got my ass beat. I only won 1 fight. The trainer would not work with me. I should have just went and got a better trainer at that point in time because he just wouldn't work with me, like, for nothing.
Why'd you stop boxing?
I started getting brain damage. I went to this thing.
Jesus.
Yeah, dude, I went to this thing. My trainers, this is how he trained me. He would be like, I'm going to get you tough because you're not good at moving your head, which I would. He just didn't believe in the whole, moving your head. He'd be like, what do you think, you're Mayweather? This shows you how good of a trainer he is. My first day at the gym, I was about 14 years old, and I beat everybody's ass in the whole gym. My first day there, because my dad, used to box too, so I always kind of hit the bag and the speed bags. And I ran track at the time, so I was in phenomenal shape. Like, I just didn't get tired. And you would think that would make me say, okay, all these guys are grown men. I just beat the shit out of all of them. Whatever I'm doing works. He would be like, oh, all this stuff, you're showboating, you're moving. He's like, you got to stand here like this and come at him. So he wanted to make sure I could take a punch. Like, he would have me get in with heavyweights. I was 117 pounds. And they would wail on me for years.
Holy shit.
He'd be like, don't move out of the way of that damn punch. I got to get you ready for it. And I would be seeing I'd be putting the orange juice in the cupboard. Like, dude, I was so messed up from it.
Yo.
Yeah, because he used to claim that you got to be able to take a punch. He'd think the more you take, the stronger it'll get you.
It's literally the opposite of what you're supposed to do.
Bro, when I first moved, he's like, I don't raise no Mayweather fighters. Who's the best fighter in the world, by the way.
Yeah, the guy who's worth $1 billion.
Right. He's like, all
More?
this
Billions?
moving your head stuff. That's what he would say.
Jesus.
And I would just be moving. I had quick reflexes. So somebody throw a punch, I'd move out the way, and I just tag them. But I never was knocking anybody out. And he'd be like, you're just pity pap. You got to come in and really hit him. Take a punch. And
that's so
bad. So, I had this one fight. I had no training. So the first fight I did really well at. And then after that, it was downhill. I actually fought the second best amateur in the country for my last fight.
Oh, wow.
And it was in front of 4,500 people. But right before we got to eat dinner with all the fighters, the pros, it was an undercard for a Showtime fight.
Whoa.
Like, it was a huge fight.
Really?
Yeah. I actually, from breaking that sit-up record.
Did you do Showtime as your credit?
You
should at comedy. Use
cool.
Showtime as a credit.
Well, I was just the undercard, so I wasn't. I think there's a quick glimpse of me hitting the mitts on Showtime, but either way, it was I was like the undercard, and right before the fight, I had a lot of ticket sales from like breaking the sit-up record, and people actually did like me. Yeah, I broke a sit-up record. I was in the paper, and but. Right before the fight, I realized I've been stuttering a lot. Like, everybody noticed I've been stuttering. And we sit down to eat a day before the fight with all the pros, and they're all like, pass me the pepper. And me and my dad, we looked at each other. I just knew. I said, yo, I got brain damage. And it took like 2 years for the stuttering to stop.
Holy shit.
Dude, when you get hit, it's like you do the dumbest stuff, man. You do stuff that doesn't make sense. I threw my keys in the trash. One time I couldn't find them nowhere at the gas station.
Dude.
I cleaned out my car. I threw my keys away, cleaning out my car. And I'm like, how are my keys gone? I walked all the way home. I didn't have a cell phone at the time. And I walked home to like call somebody to tow my car. And then finally I'm like, let me check the trash. I did clean out my car. And there they were in the trash at the gas station.
Damn.
It's wild.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but I had some good fights, too. I had one fight I sold all these tickets, and the guy that was supposed to fight me didn't show up, and I pretty much sold the place out. I had to go that night. I had to go in the ring. So they just found some guy and had me box him. I beat the shit out of him. I remember.
They pull him out of the crowd?
I don't know where they got him. Maybe he just started, but they were trying to show him how to throw a jab before the fight. And he was bigger than me, too. He was like... definitely not in my weight class. I was little. So the fear, I charged him, and I knocked him out in 2 rounds.
Wow. What does it feel like to knock someone out? I've never knocked someone out.
It feels great. I had in the amateurs is when I really used to knock people out. I knocked a guy through the ring once. Remember those KO for drugs tournaments?
No.
They used to have these things in high school where it was boxing. In my hometown, it was boxing. I come from Youngstown, so there was a world champion at this time. So boxing got real big. Kelly Pavlik
from Ohio,
Youngstown, Ohio.
Oh wow, okay.
Lived 3 streets away from me. And Ray Boom Boom Mancini, who was a huge boxer. He's from Youngstown. Harry Aurora, a lot of like world champs were from there. And it was a big boxing town. So they used to have these tournaments. It was KO for drugs. And I trained for it for like 3 years to fight these kids that never really trained. This guy that was in my weight, they actually moved after my first fight. I was in 9th grade. I knocked a kid through the ring. They were like, listen, we got to put you against seniors. We can't. This wasn't even right. Like,
it's like, this is not okay.
And I was just knocking everybody out, like literally out, because I had the punches, the combinations, the slips, and these people never boxed. Like the guy I fought for the title was like, he was like, yeah, my brother's been training me in the garage. And I beat him so bad twice. It was ridiculous. You know what was funny? There was this kid in my high school that used to make fun of me. And Wilson in my high school, I remember he'd make fun of me all the time, man. And he was like the star football player. But the thing is, you could be the best football player in the world. If you don't box, you're not going to be good.
No way.
So he got transferred through football. He was so good, a high school transferred him to a top high school to play football for him. He actually went on to play for the Steelers, I think.
Really?
But I don't think he got any playing time, though. But either way, he had like a season with the Steelers. But he was in the senior division or whatever, and they didn't want me to fight him because he was the school favorite. So that was the main reason that they were like, well, we can't put you against him. And, you know, I got my win on him. I was like, yeah, it's cool, man. You made fun of me a lot, but you won't fight me, though, right? Yeah, it's not the same thing. Boxing, I couldn't wait to get in the ring with this kid. And right before the last fight, they switched it.
Oh, that sucks, dude.
Yep.
Oh, that would have been great.
I think it was even better just knowing he knew what was up.
Yeah, he was scared.
I knocked everybody out in the KO for tournaments. I was the only person that knocked anybody out. Because really, it doesn't take much pressure. These people would come out swinging, all the kids, and you got headgear and gloves. You're just hitting the headgear. Nobody would throw one straight right hand. Nobody. Yeah. And the thing about boxing is you really don't gotta be strong to knock somebody out. Like, the jaw's a weak muscle. Like, I know, Mike, you told me you've been knocked out a bunch.
No, I've never been knocked out. I used to take I've taken a lot of straight on shots.
Oh, yeah, you said you had a lot of black eyes.
A couple broken
Mike
noses.
told me when I got my first black eye, he's like, oh, dude, I had one every week from drinking.
Oh, yeah.
Broken noses. But you could just flick somebody and they're going down. So I just...
In the right spot, like in the chin.
Straight right hand to somebody's jaw.
I think it's a pressure point. Generally they get knocked out when you do not see it coming.
Yeah.
And they just bang you
and
down.
Nobody sees a straight right coming. If you're a fast enough boxer, it's just flap. You know, it's like, dude, you're done.
That was quick as hell.
Yeah, you're
Holy
done.
Shit.
Done.
That was a quick punch.
Straight right hand. You should have seen me back in the day. I used to be pretty quick, man.
Damn, dude, that's wild.
Yeah, but so I was knocking everybody out with them phantom rights. They were going right down.
Holy shit, man.
Yep, just boom, tumbling. They're like, Ryan. I remember this girl was so worried. You know, he had all these tattoos, and she thought she was being cocky. She's like, oh, he's going to be an easy win. I was fat, dude. I'm Italian. I love to eat. Dude, I was fat. I was short and fat. And I was only like 100, and I think for this I was like 125 pounds, but I had no muscle, I had a gut.
Yeah.
And we did it with no shirt on, and she's like, oh, this is an easy win. And this dude was ripped, but I could tell he couldn't box.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you see him hitting the mitts. You could tell if somebody knows what they're doing. And I'm thinking, this girl's crazy. I'm about to knock her son out quick. She's like, we got an easy win, Ryan. It's going to be easy work for you. And I knocked him out. First, 3 seconds of the fight. Afterwards, she's like, you shouldn't be knocking people out. This is a tournament for kids. And everybody, it was a KO for drugs. Everybody was on speed and Adderall. Everybody's just throwing these punches.
Dude, that's so funny, man.
Yeah.
All right, how we doing on time over there?
About 58 minutes.
All right, that's good. Anything else before we wrap?
I'd say the first black eye I ever got. I got a story about that. That was pretty funny.
Let's hit it.
This was the first black eye I ever got was in second grade, actually. And I'm not proud of this at all. I'll be honest. I don't even know why I did this, but some girl went to hit me with her books or something. I can't remember. She went to hit me with her books. I remember that for whatever reason, and I kind of raised my fist at her, and my mother, found out later. She was so pissed. Anyways, I regret that forever. But anyways, the girl actually ended up hitting me when I raised my fist. She hit me in the eye, And I think I came clean later and told my mother what happened, but at first I lied about it.
Oh my god!
So this girl hit me in the eye, and it hurt, bro. Like you get hit in the eyes,
Yeah.
and it was like I was crying. She hit me, and anyways, I went home, and my dad always used to tell these cool fight stories about like growing up on the South Side in the ghetto and people scrapping all the time.
Yeah.
And he would tell me these stories how they fought and. And I wanted to tell one of these cool stories when my dad was like, what happened to your eye? I came home. I didn't want to say I raised my hand at a girl. Like, my parents would have killed me.
Yeah, it's like, you don't want to be like, Rebecca punched me right in the face.
I think her name was Taquisha, the school I went to. But she, I ended up becoming friends with her. But, and I'm not being racist. That really was her name. So go fuck yourselves. You could see her on my Facebook. But anyway, we became friends later anyways. But, I lied to my dad, and I was like, "Oh yeah," I was like, a Puerto Rican kid, Anthony Hart or whatever. I don't want to say his name. Anthony pulled a knife out on me, and my dad's such a small neighborhood. He knew his dad. He's like, "What, Vico's son?" And he's like, "We're going to his house right now. You're gonna fight him." And he goes, "If you don't kick his ass, I'm kicking your ass." So we drove to his house, and we didn't have cell phones. I couldn't call him or text him.
Oh my god!
And I get there, and he goes, "As soon as he opens up the door, punch him right in the face as hard as you could." And this kid was my friend, man. Like, he never pulled a knife out on me ever. I just said it. And, so the kid opens up the door. He's like, "Hey, Dom." And, dude, everything I got, I wailed him right in the face. As hard as he didn't even expect it, dude. I clocked him hard. And all my weight behind it. And he beat the shit out of me all over the front yard, dude. I was looking at my dad, like, getting hit. Like, when are you going to break this up? Like, I'm sick of getting beat up.
Dude, that's so funny.
So much wrong going on in that scenario.
I think at that point, honestly, I think my father lost respect for me for the longest because he's a real fighter.
Oh, my God.
But then I gained it back when I used to box. He's seen I got tough.
Holy shit.
My dad had this thing against sissies, man. He used to tell me all the time, like, if I stubbed my toe and went, "Ow," he'd be like, "You're being a sissy. What, you want little girls to beat you up? Huh?"
Dude, that must have been his nightmare. Did you eventually come clean and tell him that a girl punched you in the face?
Yeah. I told my mother, I think, and she was so mad. She made me become friends with the girl, apologize to her family.
Yeah, but dude, you should.
Which is right. I did everything right.
Yeah,
and I still regret
good.
that to this day. You don't raise your fist at anybody.
Obviously, yeah. But also when you're young. How old were you? 8?
I was 8, and you know why I think I
That's
did
very
it?
young. Not that that's, like, okay ever, but, like, at some point there's an age where it was like, dude, girls are even bigger than boys.
Right. I wasn't even 8, honestly. It was 2nd grade. I was probably, like, 6 or 7.
Dude, I feel like there's a certain age, like, where, like, girls get, like, bigger, and then, dude, girls are just out there beating the shit out of little boys. Still not okay. Never okay to hit a lady, you know?
And that's when they like you. I remember riding the bus to the learning disability school, and the girls would be putting makeup on me, punching me, but it's because they liked me. Like, the one girl's like, "Yeah, I always had a crush on you."
Dude, I mean, that's so funny, man. Holy shit!
All right, that's a good one to
school.
wrap on.
Dude. Yeah,
funny.
we're gonna have you. I feel like this is gonna be a
put in
fan
the comments
favorite episode.
any questions you have about or for Dom, and we'll be having him back on the cast.
All right, word.
We're eventually gonna get a new microphone that doesn't buzz.
And check out Dom's Instagram.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Instagram.
give your plugs.
Dominic Leonelli. Is there going to be a tag so they could see how to spell it?
Yeah.
No, I don't ever put one.
Okay, well, look at Dom's details on YouTube. That's what I'm mainly concerned with. YouTube, DOMS, details. There's all kinds of stuff on
Dom's
there.
details. Yeah, and these episodes are out every Wednesday. We put new episodes out at Mike T. Kerrigan, at Dylan Krasinski, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and we will see you next week.
Oh, yeah.
Good night.